Hello, and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. This is episode 352. My name is Emily Rainbow Davis. Thank you for listening to this blogcast. Hey, we reached number 18 on the Good Pods Indie Arts Podcast chart. Number 18. I can't tell what else is on the chart or who is listening on Good Pods. Are you? And some of you must be. So I thank you for making this podcast number 18 in the Indie Arts chart. I think I'm saying that right. Anyway, I'll be 18 anywhere. I don't care. I think that's very cool. Also, I don't know anything about Good Pods. I mean, I'm on it, and I like rate this blogcast myself there sometimes just to give it a little boost. But I haven't quite understood that platform yet. So if you are, in fact, a Good Pods listener, will you please just give me any tips, like about what it's for or how you use it? Or it's just a little not intuitive for me, and I think I'm missing something. So Good Pods listeners, and there must be some of you, hello, thank you. Give me the deal if you can. No obligation, obviously. But if you feel like, bragging on Good Pods, I want to hear it. Okay, so today's blog is about television again. International television again. But I'll tell you something that's funny is that I hashtagged the name of the television program that inspired this post, which was Crash Landing on You, a Korean romantic comedy sort of drama. I hashtagged it thinking like, oh, maybe this will help, with the algorithm on Twitter or whatever. And boy, I got a lot of tweets. I got more retweets than I think I may have ever received before. So that's something. But it didn't actually translate to people like clicking on the blog, which I thought was interesting. There were a lot of retweets of the tweet about the blog, but not very many views, which is a curious state of affairs. Anyway, it's a way to get tweets, but I'm not sure it's a way to get clicks. Oh, God, is this world. This world where we need tweets and clicks. Anyway, let me read it to you. It is called Travel Through International TV. For a while, I thought my interest in international television was coming from a desire to escape, to be so far from my own world that I couldn't even understand the language or the norms. That may still be a factor, but lately, I've found that watching these things has revealed things about my own culture. The patterns that were underneath that were previously invisible to me because they're just the air I breathe. Of course, a TV program is not the culture itself. A TV show tends to reveal things about a culture that it wants to be seen doing that aligns with its values, or pushes them in illuminating ways. American TV is not American culture, but it is how we like to imagine ourselves. And there are a lot of things we don't do in our TV that reveal as much as we do. I've talked about men crying before. Men don't cry much in American media, and I thought it was just Spain where men cried beautifully on TV. Since I wrote the piece, I have also enjoyed men crying in Korea, Turkey, Poland, Norway, and more. Some of the countries have a reputation for machismo, and yet seeing so many men crying for a wide range of reasons, I gotta say, we may have some of the most screwy tropes of masculinity going here in these United States. Given our recent and current political situation, this is probably not a surprise. We also don't do a lot of kindness and consideration in American media, I've realized. I've been watching the Korean mega hit Crash Landing on You, and the thing that moves me over and over about the main character's relationship is how considerate they are of one another. Sure, they save one another's lives by shielding each other from gunshots. That's pretty usual in American movies. But the stuff that touches me is like thinking about what their partner would like, or what would make them more comfortable. The male lead, who is very tall, bought some groceries for his beloved and he put them on an empty shelf, but then squatted down to his partner's height to place them where she could reach them. The grand gestures are very American, but the small ones are things I can't think of ever having seen in an American show or film. There was a whole sequence of this character making coffee for her before they get together, and it was almost erotic the way the camera lingered on the process. First, there was a scene of him searching for beans in the market, then boiling the water in a cauldron, grinding up the beans by hand, pouring it into the cone. It is not a short moment. We know he loves her by the way he makes that coffee, which just points out for me the way American romantic leads will take a bullet for you, but make you a cup of coffee? Only if you're both cops at the station's machine and it happens to be convenient. American media loves a big gesture and cares very little for small acts of devotion. Because of my exposure to American media, I feel like it took me way longer than it should have for me to work out how important kindness might be in a partner. The most kindness an American partner might demonstrate is pulling a blanket over a sleeping person, which, is nice, but not, exceptional. Another thing I found myself moved by in a lot of international TV is friendship. It's not true of every country's TV I've seen. I'm looking at you, Norway and Germany. But a lot of countries have incredibly powerful groups of friends who are as devoted to one another as romantic partners. I first noticed it in Cable Girls, but I've seen it in many Spanish programs since. Morocco, Love in the Time of War, Valeria, The Time Between, Velvet, as well as Brazilian shows, The Girls from Ipanema, Maldivas, and of course Italy, my brilliant friend. You don't see this kind of camaraderie in American media, unless it's a war film or a heist. Pretty much you can't enjoy one another's company unless you're killing people or working together to steal things. American media has a lot going for it, but there are a lot of gaps in how we represent relationships. And given the influence of the American media on our culture and other people's culture, I wonder if the gaps are reflective of gaps in our actual relationships. I have a lot of great friends, but they are scattered across the globe, so I haven't enjoyed the joy and power of a strong friend group in ages. I find myself very jealous of these groups on TV when I see them and wonder if our media had shown us more of them in our youth, if we might have held together more. Prioritizing one's friends is a little unusual in these United States. That's probably clear in the way we present to the world. One of the most interesting things about traveling, like real in-person get on a bus in a foreign country type traveling, is how much it can reveal about one's own culture. I have never felt so American as when I am far away from home. I have come to appreciate aspects of my culture that I might have previously never considered. It is fascinating to be identified as American, not because of my accent or appearance, but because of some aspect of my behavior. The smiling will often give me away, or some effusive expression of enthusiasm. Watching a lot of international TV seems to have a similar effect as real-life traveling can, but on a broader cultural scale. I feel and understand my culture's Americanness in a new way. I can see some things we're missing and the impact that might be having on us as a nation. Like, maybe if we weren't such rugged individualists, we might value our friends more. We might cry more freely. We might show love, not just to our romantic partners, but to the world at large in acts of service or devotion. I feel like it would be good for us as a nation, which might be good for the world too. Like if we stopped romanticizing men who shoot bullets or take them for us and leaned into men who make coffee and kindness. Well, maybe we'd stop sending bullies to govern us or something like that. I know other cultures have their troubles and issues too, and sometimes I can see those peeking out beyond their engaging works of television. But it's the things that showcase our differences, our cultural contrasts, that really teach me something. And maybe someday, if I get to travel for real, someone can show me how to ride a bus in those places. I just rewrote the last line of that piece because I went to read it and I was like, what am I talking about? What did I mean? So I think I have now fixed it. Fingers crossed. Yeah, and also the thing about friendship, it was also in Crash Landing on You. There's this like incredible crew of men who are like a regiment in the North Korean army, but they like really, look out for each other and become really close, and it's very sweet. It's a very sweet thing. I feel like I wanted this post to be like a all Crash Landing on You all the time post when I wrote it. Although, given that those were the people who were mostly interested in it, perhaps I should have. Anyway, it's a very charming show if you have not seen it. And I learned a lot about Korea, like the whole sort of North Korea, South Korea situation. And it was very interesting and very sweet. So, that's on Netflix, I think. It depends on where you live, obviously. It's so crazy that there's different things available in different countries. Like I was watching a show in Canada when I was there on Netflix, on like Canadian Netflix. And then I came back to the States and I couldn't see that show anymore. And it goes the other way as well. Anyway. So I've tried to think about songs about traveling. And I realized I've never done one of my favorite traveling songs ever before. So I will be playing it for you shortly. It is Can't Help But Wonder Where I'm Bound. I know it from Nancy Griffith's album of covers. But it's a Tom Paxton song. And this song was like really high on my list in my 20s because I was a wanderer. So it's fun to like get back into it. It's been a while. I used to play it also, but I, of course, forgot entirely what the chords were for a while. Anyway, I'll play that for you very shortly. Meanwhile, thank you so much for listening. If you like this experience, I'm so glad. Please tell someone about it. Like, review, subscribe. Hey, make us number 18 in another podcast platform. That would be fun. You could also support it with money, which is amazing. Patreon is a great place to do that. Patreon.com/Emily R. Davis. There's also PayPal. There's Ko-fi. Right now on Ko-fi, I'm still fundraising for my residency in Crete. I am 94% funded, which is very close. Although I forgot to factor in the exchange rate, so it's not quite there. But that's okay. It's close enough. But yes, all that is in the show notes. All those links are there. And that's, I think, all that there is. So, yeah, thank you for being here with me. And, this song is me on guitar. And I don't think there's anything else to tell you. It's a pretty straightforward song. But yeah, I had to sort of, the song it's not like immediately there the way it was for me in my 20s. So I had to like kind of channel my younger self to really like get into this song. So here's a imaginary 20-something Emily singing you this song. Here it is. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound. It's a long and dusty road, and it's a hot and heavy load. Folks I meet ain't always kind. Some are bad and some are good, and some have done the best they could, and some have tried to ease my trouble in mind. And I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, or where I'm bound. Can't help through this land, just doing the best I can, trying to find what I was meant to do. And the people that I see look as worried as can be, and it looks like they are wondering too. So I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, or where I'm bound. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound. Now I had me a buddy back home, and he started out to roam. I hear he's out by the Frisco Bay, and sometimes when I've had a few, his old voice comes a-ringing through. I'm going out to see him someday, and I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, or where I'm bound. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound. If you see me passing by, and you sit and you wonder why, and you wish that you were a rambler too, well, nail your shoes to the kitchen floor, just lace them up and bar the door. Thank your stars for the roof that's over you, 'cause I can't help but wonder where I'm bound, or where I'm bound. Can't help but wonder where I'm bound. And I can't help but wonder